Hey folks, thanks for joining me. We're back on the Sears and Roebuck Silvertone branded radio, super heterodyne, back from the 1930s. It's a model 57D 1704. Again, it's the companion radio. And I wanted to show one more close-up of the front side of the radio just to capture the beautiful inlay, and then just capture again the beautiful walnut veneer. And the reason that's important, I wanted to take time and document everything. And you can see here I've got a drawing of the whole front side of the radio to scale. And the reason that's important because all of the veneer itself on the front, you can see that the grain itself is somewhat book matched, and it runs in 45-degree angles. So you've got a cut line down the middle, and you've got a horizontal cut line. And then you can see the way the grain flows here, 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 and here with this beautiful inlay. Regarding the inlay, I looked online to see if I could find a match. I couldn't, so I've done this before. I'm actually going to create the inlay, but I'm going to do it using my printer, and I've already got a sample here of a piece. It still needs to be touched up scale-wise, but it's fairly close. And this will be my replacement inlay. This will actually lay on top of some wood veneer, and then we'll apply toner lacquers over it just to make it a closer match to the colors that you see here. Probably not as dark, hopefully. I always have a tendency to tone too dark anyway, so I'll try to be cautious of that. But I've done this before with success. I think I'll try it again here just so I can get a really good match of the existing inlay. So more to come on that. Again, we'll be using something very similar to this, what I'm showing here, to recreate the inlay, or that's my hopes anyway. So again, just back to the original cabinet here, you can see again the grain lines I'm talking about. Again, the veneer is cut here in the center up to this point, and you can see there's a horizontal cut as well running across from this point right here. So again, you've got this running at 45-degree angles, 45, 45, 45, and again, it's probably a riff cut or a quarter sawn for the front. And then I'll just use some rotary cut or for the sides and top. That'll be the plans right now. So let me show you real quick. I want to go ahead and get this outside, get this chewed up grill cloth out of here. Most likely won't reuse it. I'll look for something that's a close match, but I want to get these finishing nails out, so let me just show you a technique that hopefully we'll be able to use without messing up the excussion here in this area. I've showed you before, I just keep some of these 7mm gloves in the shop. You can pick them up really cheap. I'm actually going to just fold it here, and I'm going to just use it to place directly on the excussion. And then I'm going to use my flat cutters here, and I'm going to just try to grab the finish nail and just pull straight back. And this one came out really easy. Sometimes they're deep and they're hard to remove. I didn't want to try to pry underneath this piece and take a chance of actually messing it up. So we'll see if these others come out just as easy. Sometimes they're really hard to get a hold of. You could use anything just to protect the area you're working on, if you're working on an excussion or a bezel. I'll do one more here, then scratch that just a bit. Okay, I think you guys get the hang of it there. Again, I got maybe just a small scratch there, but I'll be able to polish that out. Again, I'm going to try to leave most of the patina on these, or at least recreate the patina. I need to clean them up just a bit because you can't even see the the station selector itself. That just may not even be showing up on camera. 55 on this end, 17 on this end. Anyway, I'll go ahead and repeat this for this side over here and try to get this piece removed again so we can get it off. And I'll get these off to the side. You can see the beauty there in these pieces. Really, really nice. They could be recreated, but sure don't want to go through that time and effort on the radio. So let me get these off, get the grill cloth off, get the Silvertone tag off as well, and then go get some lacquer thinner and get started stripping this old cabinet here. Yeah, I thought I'd go ahead and just show part of the stripping here real quick for folks that haven't done this. Again, I'm going to just use lacquer thinner. There's all kinds of gel strippers out there that I've used as well. But again, I've just got a pail here with some lacquer thinner. And I've got a 4/0 steel wool here saturated, and I'm just place it on it here and let it work in. And then again, we'll just lightly scrub. And again, I'm not really worried so much about the chip veneer on the end, since I've decided at this point to go ahead and do a complete refinish and a re-veneer of the cabinet itself. In particular, since I've got to replace the top anyway. And again, I mentioned the grill cloth just a little bit ago. I'm going to replace it as well. So I could just strip this off, but using some heat and just removed the veneer. But the reason I want to strip it is just to get a better indicator of the grain lines. Make sure that my documentation is spot on as well. So when I go back and actually re-veneer this thing, I've got a close match the way it looked, from the factory. So not much to this little cabinet at all. You can see the grain lines that I'm talking about now here, where this is cut in a diagonal fashion, and you've got a section here, so you really just got 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So again, I'll strip it and I'll just use some heat, but I really wanted to put some lacquer thinner on here just to get a better indicator of this inlay as well, and just make sure my reproduction design is a close match. Again, I'm not using much pressure because I may actually want to save, I will save this veneer and have it in my scraps for future use. And you never know, if something goes wrong with my re-veneer, I may end up using some of these pieces here to repair this cabinet, or I may take some of this veneer and use it on the Zenith, since this is the same type of walnut quarter sawn cut design. So that'll come in handy as well for the Zenith. Another reason here for stripping. At least that's what I've got inside my head at this point in time. Alright, I'll continue this process and we'll pick up. Again, I'm going to switch over here to a rag in just a few minutes, and then we'll see where we end up getting this finish off. You can see with these old finishes, it doesn't take much here to break the old lacquer loose. A lot of it's already starting to fall off as it is. Alright, let me go get some more lacquer thinner here. And I think I'll move over to the rag here and just start wiping everything down. I'll do it just one more time here first. Beautiful, and you can see this is one piece of veneer, and they probably just used heat or something to soften the veneer, or at least I think that's veneer on this side. May actually be the wood grain itself. The more I look at it. You see now I'm starting just to wipe this down, or wipe it off. I'll go take this pail in just a minute and wash it out real good, and get all the scrap and stuff out of it, residue. And we'll get another clean rag here in just a bit. The Zenith cabinet, when I was working on it, took me about 4 hours to strip it. And again, it's just because there was so much to do on the cabinet, and the lacquer finish on it was in a lot better condition. And this radio, again, it was already delaminated and starting to fall off. Be cautious here in those center grill areas. I can tell that woodwork there is very fragile, starting to bend just a little bit on me. Make sure I don't break out a section of that and create a new problem. But I think this gives a real good indicator now of the grain itself. And you guys can see what I was talking about, the way it's cut. So again, I'll try to go back and reproduce that same flow if I can, and definitely a closer look now at that inlay with the toner lacquers removed. So I'll get my camera out here and take some still photos and a little closer up photography there, just to make sure I do a better job of matching or reproducing the inlay. Alright, let me go get the this area cleaned out right here. We'll come back and get a clean rag, and let's wipe this thing down. I think I got the majority of the old lacquer finish off. See here, I'm going to just saturate a rag here with some lacquer thinner. And again, I'm going to remove this veneer using heat, or hopefully heat, or hopefully a lot of it will just fall off here due to the lacquer finish against the hide glue or whatever adhesive was used, most likely hide glue for the period to get the veneer onto the cabinet. Again, when I look at the sides here, I first thought that that was veneer, and I think now I can tell it's not. That's just the grain of the wood itself. So that'll even make the cabinet restoration that much easier. So it looks like it was just wood veneer, possibly down to the front and the top section that I'll have to recreate. And this is nothing more than just the wood grain itself and the wood that was used, no veneer, and the sides. That's what it looks like anyway. You can see I'm getting very little finish off now on the rag, which is a good indicator. And I've got most of the finish and stuff off. Again, we'll do some light sanding, so any remaining toner lacquers or stain or whatever was used here for pigmentation, I'll be able to get that off. And the idea is not to get all of it off anyway. I don't really care if some of it's on there, because the darkness of the wood is what makes this so special. And again, I think you can see this side here, same thing. Thought this was a veneer, but it's not. It's just the solid wood that was used. Beautiful grain. So I think that's it, folks. Let me continue to work on the cabinet, get inside of this area here just a little bit, and see if I can get more of the lacquer off these pieces, just so I'll have them cleaned off if I elect to reuse it. And then clean up the inside of the cabinet too. But I'm going to take lacquer thinner here and just clean up the entire inside of the cabinet as well. So stay tuned. We'll have some future updates here on the veneer work on this one and the Zenith 5S29. Thanks again for watching. Okay, the old grill cloth finally came out here. You can see me removing it. Had to tug on it just a bit, but the old lacquer thinner, great product for getting rid of any old adhesive material. One thing I did find out, you'll see here in just a second, there's a second sheet or a laminating sheet or another substrate on the back side. So I'll definitely have to look at possibly recreating that as well. You can see that now on the photos here, or the video that I'm showing. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that and see what plan of attack we'll have. Alright, now let's move on along here to my madness for keeping the veneer. Some folks probably question, why strip the Silvertone and just not do a little touch-up and repair. Two things. First of all, the Silvertone will be a challenging but rewarding restore. And second, I wanted some of the old veneer. And you can see this is a piece of the veneer from the Silvertone. And here's the Zenith missing. So I think you kind of look at this and get the idea. I'll be able to use some of the old veneer that was on the Silvertone, and it will be a perfect match here for the Zenith 5S29. And the Zenith 5S29 has a lot more value and is a lot more collectible than the Silvertone. So that veneer on the front will be the perfect match, and that's what I'll use for my donor for this particular 5S29.